was 1:47 a.m. when Daniel accepted his final ride request. He was tired, ready to go home, but the map showed a pickup just a few minutes away, on an old, half-empty street. Easy money, he thought. When he pulled up, the place was quiet. No streetlights, just an old wooden bus stop, and a woman standing there in a white coat staring down at her phone. Daniel rolled down his window. "Hey, Uber for Lily?" She looked up slowly and nodded, her face pale under the flickering streetlight. "Yeah, that's me." She got in the back seat without saying another word. As soon as she shut the door, the app glitched, the screen flashed, and the destination disappeared. Where to?" Daniel asked, glancing back. She replied softly, "Just drive. I'll tell you when to turn." The silence was heavy. The only sound was the hum of the tires and the faint radio static. Daniel tried to make small talk. "Rough night." She smiled faintly in the mirror. "I just needed a ride home." A few minutes later, Daniel realized that they were heading toward the outskirts, an area he didn't recognize. No GPS, no signal, just empty road and trees on both sides. "Hey, are you sure this is the right way?" he asked. She leaned forward, her voice almost a whisper. "You're doing great, Daniel. Just a little further." He froze. He hadn't told her his name. He checked the rearview mirror, but the back seat was empty. The seatbelt buckle was still clicked in. Heart pounding, Daniel slammed the brakes. The car screeched to a stop in the middle of the road. The radio crackled. Then a voice came through, the same soft tone as hers. "Thanks for the ride home." The screen on his phone suddenly lit up again. The trip had ended. Destination, Hillview Cemetery. And there, in the reflection of the windshield, Daniel saw her sitting behind him again, smiling. The next morning, Daniel didn't wake up to his alarm. He woke up to his phone ringing nonstop. His hands were still shaking. He hadn't slept at all. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her, sitting in the back seat, smiling through the mirror. He finally picked up the phone. It was the Uber support line. "Mr. Hayes," the woman said, "we received a report about your last ride. Can you confirm what happened?" Daniel swallowed hard. I don't know. My app glitched. The passenger vanished. And when it came back, it said the destination was a cemetery." There was silence on the line. Then the voice said quietly, "Sir, that ride never existed." Daniel froze. "What do you mean?" "The system shows your last real completed trip was at 12:15 a.m. There's no record of a ride to Hillview Cemetery." His chest tightened. He hung up and grabbed his keys. He needed to see for himself. The sun was barely up when Daniel reached Hillview Cemetery. The gates were half open, creaking in the wind. He walked through the rows of stones, his breath turning cold in the morning air. Then he stopped. There it was, the name on the headstone, Lily Hart, 1993 to 2021. She just needed a ride home. His legs went weak. That was exactly what she said in the car. Daniel stumbled backward, but something caught his eye. A small white object lying beside the grave. He picked it up. It was his own Uber ID card, the one clipped to his dashboard. But he hadn't dropped it. It had been inside his car. He looked around, and that's when he saw it. A black car parked at the edge of the cemetery. His car, engine running, headlights on. Inside, through the windshield, someone was sitting in the driver's seat. Someone who looked exactly like him. Daniel stood frozen at the edge of the cemetery. His own car was right there, engine humming. headlights cutting through the fog, but the man sitting inside looked exactly like him. Same jacket, same haircut, same tired eyes. Daniel blinked hard. What the hell? He stepped closer, gravel crunching under his shoes. The other Daniel turned his head slowly. Their eyes met through the windshield, and the one in the car smiled. That same smile Lily gave him. Daniel stumbled back, breathing heavy. "This isn't real," he whispered. He pulled out his phone, but the screen wouldn't turn on. It just glowed white, flickering. Then the radio from the car turned on by itself. Static. Then her voice again. "Thank you for taking me home, Daniel." The headlights dimmed. The figure in the car faded, like smoke dissolving into the fog. Daniel rushed forward, yanked the door open, and froze. The driver's seat was empty, but on the passenger seat lay his phone, unlocked, with the Uber app open. There was one active ride request. Pickup, Hillview, Cemetery driver, Daniel Hayes. And the timestamp showed 1:47 a.m., the exact time he had accepted Lily's ride. His heart pounded. He whispered to himself, "No, I already did this. I already drove her." The wind blew cold, and from behind him came a faint voice, the same soft tone, right by his ear. "You're still driving, Daniel." He turned, but there was no one there. Only the empty road stretching into the darkness, and the sound of his car door closing softly behind him. Then the phone buzzed. Trip started. The screen of Daniel's phone glowed faintly in the mist. Trip started. The timer began counting. 0, so on. 0, so 2. He looked around, trembling. There was no one in sight, no car, no sound. Yet the app showed a passenger had already been picked up. Then, from behind him, a door creaked shut. Daniel turned slowly. His car was there again. The back door was half open. He took a shaky step forward. The inside light flickered, and a voice, barely a whisper, floated through the air. "Daniel, we're late." He froze. It was Lily's voice. Daniel forced himself closer and looked inside. The back seat was empty, but on the cracked phone screen attached to the dashboard, a faint reflection appeared. A pale woman sitting perfectly still, her eyes in the mirror, watching him. He whispered, "What do you want from me?" The reflection smiled. "You took me home once." Her voice echoed, growing colder, layered, as if many voices were speaking at once. "Now it's your turn." The app on his phone changed. The map flipped. Destination, Hillview Cemetery. Driver, Lily Hart. Daniel's breath caught. His name faded from the app, replaced by hers. He looked down at his hands. His skin was turning pale, translucent under the dashboard glow. He could feel the air thinning, colder, heavier, like he was being pulled into something unseen. Then Lily's voice whispered one last time, "Buckle up, Daniel. It's a long ride." The car engine roared to life, and as the headlights cut through the night, the phone screen showed the final message. Rider delivered. It's been 3 weeks since Daniel Hayes vanished. No one's seen him, not his neighbors, not the police, not even his family. His car was found abandoned near Hillview Cemetery, engine cold, doors unlocked. But what really terrified everyone was his phone. The Uber app was still running, and every night at 1:47 a.m., it accepted a new ride on its own. The first report came from a college student named Megan. She swore she got into a black car matching Daniel's plate number. The driver didn't say a word. He just nodded and started driving. At first, she thought he was just quiet. until she looked into the rearview mirror. He wasn't blinking. He wasn't even breathing. When the car stopped, she saw the destination on the app, Hillview Cemetery. Before she could speak, he finally turned his head and smiled. "Thanks for the ride," he said in a voice that didn't sound human anymore. The next second, she was standing outside her dorm, but her phone showed the trip had ended at the cemetery, miles away. Soon, more reports appeared online. Screenshots, reviews, complaints, people saying they'd been picked up by driver Daniel H., even though his account had been deactivated. Every story ended the same way. The ride started at 1:47 a.m. The driver never spoke, and when the passengers checked their trip history later, the map always ended in the same place, Hillview Cemetery. One night, a new driver got the same request. "Pick up Hillview Cemetery." He laughed nervously and declined it. But the app accepted it on its own, and from the back seat of his car, a calm voice whispered, "Don't worry, I'll drive." It started like any other late shift. A girl named Clara had missed her last bus, so she opened the Uber app. A car nearby pinged instantly, faster than usual. "Driver, Daniel H. rating, 1:247 rides. Pickup time, 1:47 a.m. She hesitated. She'd heard the stories, people disappearing after that exact time. But she told herself, urban legends, just internet talk. So she hit accept ride. The car pulled up right on time. A black sedan, spotless, quiet. Clara slid in, shivering. "Hey Daniel, thanks for coming," she said. No answer. He just nodded slightly, eyes fixed on the road. Something about him felt off. His hands on the steering wheel were too still. His reflection in the mirror, too pale. She checked the app. No route was showing. Only 2 words on the screen. Rise in progress. Minutes passed. The city lights had disappeared behind them. Now there was only fog and forest. Clara's phone buzzed suddenly. A notification. Trip completed. Leave a review. She frowned. Wait, what? We're still driving. Then Daniel spoke for the first time. His voice was soft. "You've arrived." The car stopped. She turned her head and saw a rusted sign on the side of the road. Hillview Cemetery. Her heart froze. When she looked back, the driver's seat was empty. The car door creaked open by itself. She screamed and ran. The next morning, people noticed something strange on the Uber app. A new review had appeared at exactly 1:47 a.m. from user Clara J. "He got me home safe." Comment, "But I don't remember ever leaving the car." And that review was the last thing ever posted from Clara's account. Her phone was later found on the front seat of Daniel's car. Engine running. Trip started. The stories had become legend by now. Everyone in the city knew the warning. Never order a ride at 1:47 a.m. But one man didn't believe in ghost stories. Ethan Cole, a journalist chasing clicks and headlines, decided to prove it was all fake. He wanted views, not safety. So one cold Friday night, he opened the Uber app and waited. 1:45 a.m. Nothing. 1:46 a.m. His phone lagged. Then at 1:47 a.m., a new ride appeared. Driver, Daniel H. car, black sedan. Pickup, Hillview Cemetery. Ethan smirked. Finally, he accepted. When the car arrived, it was exactly as described. Old, clean, quiet. Inside, a man sat perfectly still, eyes forward, hands resting on the wheel. Ethan slid in the back, phone recording secretly. "Hey Daniel," he said casually. "I've heard about you." The driver didn't reply. He just started driving. The city fell behind. The fog grew thick. Ethan's phone flickered, and the recording app crashed. He leaned forward. "Where are we going?" The driver finally spoke, voice calm, distant. "Home." After 20 minutes of silence, they reached a narrow road lined with gravestones. Hillview Cemetery. Ethan's pulse raced. "All right, this is good," he said nervously. "I've got what I need." He opened the door to get out, but it wouldn't budge. He tried the other side, locked. The car was still moving, slower now, deeper into the mist. Then he noticed the dashboard, his name glowing faintly on the Uber screen. Passenger, Ethan Cole. Driver, Daniel Hayes. Trip, status, in progress. But beneath it, new text appeared. Driver, transferring. Ethan shouted, "What the hell does that mean?" Daniel turned around. For the first time, Ethan saw his eyes, empty, gray, endless. Daniel smiled faintly. "It means it's your shift now." The engine roared, the car filled with white light. And then, silence. The next night, a new driver profile appeared on the app. Driver, Ethan C. Rating, pickup, Hillview Cemetery. Time, 1:47 a.m. And somewhere in the fog, a voice whispered from the driver's seat, "Next ride accepted." The Uber app had been glitching for weeks. Users complained of strange requests, rides that accepted themselves, and messages that appeared even when the app was closed. But one review caught everyone's attention, posted at 1:47 a.m. by a woman named Tara Brooks. Driver was polite, but I don't think he was alive. Tara had been working late that night. Her car battery died, rain pouring outside, and her only option was to call the ride. When she opened the app, a single car appeared nearby. Driver, Ethan C. Rating, pickup time, 1:47 a.m. She hesitated. The name sounded familiar. She remembered reading about a journalist who disappeared weeks ago, Ethan Cole. But before she could change her mind, the notification popped up. "Your driver has arrived." The car idled by the curb, a black sedan, engine silent in the rain. She climbed in, water dripping from her jacket. The driver looked young, calm, almost too calm. "Thanks for coming," she said awkwardly. He smiled faintly. "It's my job." As they drove, the rain grew louder. Tara realized the windshield wipers weren't moving. Yet somehow, the glass stayed clear. Her phone vibrated. When she glanced at it, the map wasn't showing her destination anymore. It just said, "Ride and transfer." She frowned. "Hey, what does that mean?" The driver didn't answer. He just looked at her through the rearview mirror, his eyes completely gray. Then, the radio turned on by itself. A voice whispered through static. A man's voice. "Welcome, Ethan. Your passenger is ready." Tara froze. "Who was that?" The driver spoke softly. "I'm not Ethan anymore." The car screeched to a stop. When Tara looked up, they were parked in front of a rusted gate, Hillview Cemetery. Her phone buzzed again. Trip completed. She looked down, trembling, but the name on her app had changed. Driver, Tara, B. Somewhere behind her, the driver's door opened. A hand, pale, ghostly, placed the phone back on the dashboard. Then, a faint whisper from the dark. "Next one's yours." It started as a small glitch, a random notification that didn't make sense. Uber users across the country began seeing the same message flash on their screens. Ride in progress. Pickup, Hillview Cemetery. Time, 1:47 a.m. No one knew what it meant. You couldn't cancel it. You couldn't close the app. And even if you deleted Uber, the message came back the next night. In Los Angeles, a man named Trevor got the alert while he was asleep. He woke up confused, his phone buzzing on the nightstand. When he opened the app, the ride was already active. Driver, Tara, B. Destination, pending. He laughed it off, just a bug. But a few minutes later, his phone's GPS started moving on its own. The blue dot was traveling down his street, slowly. Then he heard it, a car idling outside. Trevor got up and peered through the blinds. A black sedan, headlights off. He tried to record it, but the moment he hit camera, the car lights flashed, and the phone shut down. When it turned back on, the app said, "Trip completed. Rating submitted." But Trevor never got in the car. By the next morning, thousands of screenshots flooded social media. People across the US, from New York to Seattle, were all reporting the same thing. 1:47 a.m., same car, same driver names, Daniel, Ethan, Tara. Sometimes the profile picture changed. Sometimes it was just a blank gray face. Then one post went viral. A user named Night Rider Dwart47 uploaded a short clip. It showed the Uber map, zoomed out, hundreds of glowing car icons moving at once, all starting from the same place, Hillview Cemetery. The caption read, "They're not coming to pick us up. They're looking for their next driver." That night, Uber servers crashed for 6 minutes straight. When they came back online, one message appeared across every account that had ever received the alert. "Trip in progress. Please remain seated." The Uber headquarters in San Francisco was never this silent. It was 2 a.m., and the engineering team had gathered in a panic. Every monitor flickered with the same message. "Alert. Unregistered trip detected. 1:47 a.m. Pickup, Hillview Cemetery." At first they thought it was a hack, a coordinated cyber attack maybe, until one of the engineers, Priya, checked the live map. There were no drivers logged in, no cars on duty, and yet more than 400,000 rides were active, all starting from the same location. "Kill the servers," someone yelled. Priya started typing commands furiously, but every time she tried to shut down the network, new code appeared on its own. Lines she hadn't written, lines no human could have written that fast. Then the lights flickered. One by one, the monitors switched to a single feed, a grainy black and white view of a car's dashboard, rain tapping the windshield, a faint reflection in the mirror, a man's face, Daniel Hayes. He looked straight into the camera. His voice echoed through the speakers. "You can't cancel the ride." The systems rebooted automatically. Every account, every user worldwide, online again. The Uber logo glitched into static, morphing into text. "Ride in progress. Driver, unknown destination, pending." Priya tried one last override command, but instead of shutting down, her own screen displayed her name. "Passenger, Priya S. pickup in 0.02 minutes." A car horn echoed outside the building. Security footage later showed her walking out the front doors. Rain pouring, a black sedan waiting by the curb, headlights dim. She opened the door, sat down, and the car pulled away. The timestamp on the video, 1:47 a.m. By sunrise, every phone connected to Uber servers had received the same push notification. "Trip started, please remain seated." Daniel's phone was dead. His car engine had stopped miles ago, yet somehow the ride was still going. On his screen, the Uber app flickered back to life for a second, showing one line: "Final stop, Hillview Cemetery." His hands trembled on the steering wheel. "This isn't real," he whispered. This can't be happening. But when he looked outside, every car around him had stopped too, engines off, headlights glowing, and inside every car, a driver sat frozen, staring straight ahead. Daniel stepped out, his shoes crunching over gravel. The air was heavy, electric, almost humming. He saw them, dozens of Uber logos shining through fog, all leading toward one gate, Hillview Cemetery. He moved closer, and the smell of wet soil and iron filled his lungs. The cemetery gate creaked open, not by wind, but by something waiting. 100 phone screens lit up all at once, each showing the same notification. Ride complete. Passenger delivered. Then silence. No wind, no sound. Just Daniel, standing among rows of cars with their doors open, all empty. He turned slowly, and in the driver's seat of his own car, someone else was now sitting, the same man he picked up hours ago, staring back with lifeless eyes. Daniel's voice cracked. "Who are you?" The man smiled faintly. "Just another passenger, taking the long way home." And before Daniel could move, the car headlights flickered once more, and every single vehicle vanished into the fog. By morning, the news reports began. Dozens of Uber drivers missing overnight. Last GPS pings all lead to Hillview Cemetery. Nobody ever found Daniel's car. But sometimes, when it rains, people say you can still hear engines idling near Hillview Road, waiting for one more ride request.